So you're thinking of moving to Florida, or maybe you just have, just like myself and my wife who moved here last summer from the West Coast. If you're anything like us, moving out this way might seem a little daunting. It's quite a bit of a change, and there's a lot of things that are a little bit different than maybe what you're used to. The land's a little bit bigger in a lot of cases, the weather's a bit different, and if you're getting into gardening or farming, there's a lot of questions you might have. So my wife and I are gonna nail down all of those different types of topics, all those questions you might have, and try and help you figure out how to make the transition moving to Florida that much easier. Okay, so the very first thing that really you should probably get into your mindset is be prepared if you're under the age of, I would say, maybe about 45. Oftentimes, my wife and I have found, not everybody, but a lot of times the older people can be a little hesitant and suspicious of the younger people, especially if you're a young guy in your 30s, like me, coming in with some nice cars and bringing in lots of plant material. Apparently my neighborhood has had issues in the past of other people trying to grow cannabis illegally in the neighborhood, and so they got really skeptical. It took a little bit of time for them to see what I was doing, that I was growing a lot more fruit trees, vegetables, doing a lot more resort-style landscaping with bringing in good flowers, palm trees, things like that to get them to calm down. Now, once you get over that mindset, everything will be really cool. Neighbors will calm down. They ended up really loving a lot of what we're doing, and now the neighbors are just excited every time we put something in. But the very first thing that you're going to want to do when you come out to Florida is you're going to want to focus on compost. And that brings us to what we got that just came in. New package for a compost barrel. We got a dual chamber tumbling compost thing. Now, the reason I went this route is because for the last couple of months my wife and I have been running a compost pile out in the backyard, just open on the ground, and unfortunately it hasn't been working out that great. We've got a brand new property, it's a brand new construction home, it was a vacant lot before. There's a lot of vacant lots around us, and so there's a lot of wildlife in our area. I've got squirrels, vultures, all types of things that are just digging out any type of food scraps that I throw into the compost pile, and it's not quite working out for me that quick. So while we're working on getting a lot of the pests under control, we've been focusing a lot more so on things like black widows around our house, just because we have a 1-year-old son and my wife has autoimmune disorders. So me too, I mean, just getting bit by a spider like that's not good. So we're focusing on some of those, and while we get the other pests under control, like the squirrels on the property, the enclosed composting bin will be a huge help in order to be able to feed our garden now. So let's go ahead, open this up, move it over to the spot where we're going to be doing it. I'm going to show you guys what it's like opening it up, putting it together, and then giving you my thoughts on how well this is going to work out for us. So let's go take this over there and we'll check back with you in a sec. Okay, so we're actually going to do this up in the front driveway because it gives me a little bit more space to work with all the pieces and everything. Right back behind me, this is what I was talking about with those pests. This is where we had a lot of the issues with the black widows, was underneath the windowsill right here. We threw in a bunch of garlic, and I noticed about a month after the garlic had started popping up out of the ground, we haven't had any issues with black widows since. Now, granted, this has been in winter time, so I'm not sure if that's more weather related or due to the plants. We'll find out as summer comes, but right now I'm very happy about the fact that it's working, or seems to be. At least they're gone. But let's go ahead and open this up and see what we're working with. So I went ahead and got this one off Amazon because I figure everybody else is probably ordering a lot of shit off Amazon. And I'm doing the same. It's easy, I don't have to go anywhere, and if you're anything like me, either you might not be into the whole COVID, not trying to go anywhere because of that, but I just don't like going places. I don't like interacting with people in public, I don't like the crowds. That's just me. So anyways, this is it. We have instructions, we have pieces. We have fart can exhausts going by because people put exhaust on cars they shouldn't. And so this kit off of Amazon was, I think, about $70. I did get the compost starter with it, which we'll go over later. So it looks like we've got quite a few pieces that we're gonna have to put together. So, Jesus. How many? Another one. And we got frame. Alright, well, that works. One piece. More pieces. Jesus. That it? Finally. Alright, so there you go. We got quite a few pieces we're gonna have to put together, and let's see how difficult it'll be. Probably not much. It looks like it's a few nuts and bolts, and that's about it. Screw it together. Hopefully all of the parts have had everything drilled at the proper spacing and everything, because that's usually the problem putting things together that you order offline. And so we'll see how difficult it is, how easy it is to put together, and hopefully this will work good. So one little snag that I noticed while I was doing this, my mix-up, I didn't match up these sections right here to each other. As you can maybe see right here, you want to find the side that has the 3. I thought I had them matched up. I mixed it up, was off by 1 by the time I got towards the end. So if you do that, really easy fix. Don't worry, do not take the entire thing apart and try and spin both of them and match them up and start all over. Just detach one side right here. I've still got it pretty detached from what I did. I reattached it right here to keep it together on this one panel. As you can see, I just unattached all of one side, spun it to line it up, put it back in place, easy done. You don't have to restart the entire thing all over again. So that'll save you a lot of time. Don't freak out. Detach one side, rotate it, match it up, lock it in place, go back to work. So let's continue on. Alright, so now all the panels are on. Got just one screw on each corner for each panel. Go around, tighten it all up with all the rest of the screws. Looks like it might be enclosed. Don't worry, you got this little panel right here, slides right off to be able to pour everything into. We'll just use that to access to put all the screws in. And we'll go ahead and skip that part of recording, and we'll meet you guys over where, once we get this put back together, all tightened up, where it's going to be going in, show you how it works. Alright, so we got it back into the spot where it's going to go. Now where I've placed this is actually right inside the kitchen garden area that we're currently working on. We've got another video currently being filmed for the whole install that we're doing out this side. This is right outside the garage door next to the kitchen, so that my wife, when she's cooking or when I'm cooking, can come out, grab what we need to eat, and go right into the kitchen, make that food for our family. So we're putting it right out here next to the other trash cans and stuff, have that real nice and close. We got it all put together. I did run into one issue. I went around, hand tightened everything when I was first putting it in, and then went back through, tried to tighten it with a screwdriver and a ratchet, and one of the screws broke. So happened pretty quick, about the 3rd or 4th screw in down here on the frame. So luckily there's enough other screws holding everything in right now, but it definitely seems like the screws on these ones might be a bit cheaper. Be careful. I definitely was much more mindful going through the rest of the time, trying not to crank them too hard, and none of the other ones snapped, and I kind of left it alone from there. So once you get to this point, what you're going to want to do is find a spot where this works really well for you. As you can see, it's not that big of a container. It won't take up a whole bunch of space, which is nice. It fits nice and compact right back in this section that's getting filled with bananas that are currently growing in. There's about 7 of them, not in frame, that are currently growing with between 2 different varieties. So all you're going to do, slide this panel open, find your spot that you want stuff to go into. You're going to want some kind of browns, greens, of a mixture to go in this. Usually it's about 2 to 1, 2 browns to 1 part green. So I'm using just twigs and leaves from my wood line and the oaks that back here that have been dropping them like crazy. We're just gonna shove that in there and then add in the kitchen scraps, which we keep in this bucket under the sink. As you can see, you know, we got a lot of bananas and coffee grinds in there right now. Having a 1-year-old son, you definitely seem to go through a lot of bananas. And then having a 1-year-old son makes the parents go through a lot of coffee. That in there. And now, since this is the first time that we're doing this one, I went ahead and got this with this compost kit since I'm having issues getting my compost pile in the back going. Letting that one do its own thing. So we'll use compost starter on this one, put a little bit in with this to help give it that nice kick and speed things along, and then I'm going to empty the rest of this bag out in the back. On the other pile, since it's having such an issue, thanks to all the deer, the turkeys, the rabbits, the tortoises, a lot of wildlife that we have on this property that comes through since we don't have any type of fence in just yet. So that's why we went ahead, got this, because while we're still building up the property until we can get an open pile going for the larger quantity of stuff, this will definitely do the trick. Now, you can give it a little bit of water if you want in there or not, it's up to you. And then all you do, close it up, give it a nice spin, and then just whenever you've got kitchen scraps, come on out to your yard, slide that open, add them in, let it do its thing. All right, so you just want to play with those ratios on how it's going with the compost. If it's not going quick enough, maybe add in some more greens. If it's starting to smell bad, maybe add in some more browns. But the point is, you've got all this type of organic material all around your house. You're using it all the time in your kitchen. Why throw it into the dump and let it go waste in a lot or in a landfill when you can use it, cook it up, and get perfectly good food for your garden to feed your family right there at home. So this is definitely the one thing you want to have as the first thing you do when you get to Florida. A lot of the houses out here are filled with a lot of really heavy sand. That's pretty much what the soil is around here. You'll see it through our videos. I deal with it a lot. It's really heavy sand, it's a problem, and you got to build up that soil to make the plants grow. So this is definitely the first thing that you want to get is compost. That's the focus that you want to have when you first move to Florida. Okay, so we'll definitely be covering a lot of that in a lot of future videos, so definitely make sure to subscribe. We've got a lot of stuff going on here. Our LLC for all of this going on is up at state right now, going through review and everything. So definitely stay tuned because we've got a lot of big stuff coming. We've got a massive project going on with this. Just in the side yard, we've got a little over an acre that we're completely redoing. A lot of stuff is already underway. We're just starting to get that content going now that we've gotten to a point where my wife and I feel comfortable in putting some of this stuff out there, and we got a hold on how things work in Florida a little bit to give you guys an idea. Because that's the big topic right now. Everybody's looking at where are we going to move to, and it's always Florida. And we actually ended up moving to the Tampa area up in Citrus County back in end of June or beginning of July last year. So we'll have a lot of tips for you guys that are looking to move out to this area or just want to learn about gardening in Zone 9 or out in Florida in general. Anyways, definitely hit that subscribe button, stay tuned, and we'll catch you next time.